Hi everybody, I hope you're having an amazing day. Welcome to this week's video podcast and thank you for tuning in. My name's Rosanna, for anybody who doesn't know me, and with these videos I hope to help you on your journey of personal growth, spiritual ascension. And today that's actually what I want to talk about, is the art of transformation on the spiritual path, on your spiritual journey. Because we think that we're programmed to think, or how our minds are programmed is we're programmed to chase pleasure and avoid pain. So when we begin to wake up, when we begin to know that we're here for something more, when we begin to start on this journey of personal development, we often get addicted to the experience, like to the thing, thinking that we're going to become incredibly rich, we're going to become famous. This is the ego, and we think that we're going to become enlightened, and by doing all of these things, by meditating, by going to healing sessions, by working with healers, by going on spiritual retreats, drinking cacao, like we think that all of these things are going to be the thing that makes us enlightened, the thing that gives us the experience that we want, and that we can keep on doing these things, and that's us on the spiritual path, on the spiritual journey. But the truth is that you're never on the spiritual journey unless you're doing the deep inner work alongside it, unless you're doing the integration work after the ceremony, after the counseling, after the healing session. You have to do the integration work and take what you learned and put it into practice throughout your life. Meditation happens off the mat. All yoga teachings say yoga is a way of life. It is not just the practice on the mat. And I think a lot of people get lost on the spiritual journey, thinking that just being on the spiritual journey is going to help you reach the bliss state that you're chasing, or the ego's chasing, I should say. And so that's what we're going to touch on today, the art of transformation on your spiritual path, and how it's not always about the nice spiritual experiences, which are nice, they are beautiful, they are sacred. But the point is the transformation, and the transformation isn't always the easy bit. And so because the ego likes to chase pleasure and avoid pain, and cacao tastes lovely, but tears can hurt. Sitting with yourself can hurt. So why would the ego want to do that? This is where we have to come into alignment with the higher self, understanding that we're here for something bigger than this one human journey. And the ego wants us to keep attached to the chasing and the being and the doing in this one human journey. But rather than chasing whatever it is your ego wants you to chase, if that is enlightenment or if that is material wealth, whatever it is, the ego is probably trying to chase something, and it's probably trying to bypass doing the deep inner work, and even dissociating through spiritual acts, dissociating from the pain, the disappointment, the letdown of the potential human journey that you're on, the trauma that you have faced, dissociating by being spiritual and identifying as spiritual. And from that place, the ego can hijack you and think that you're doing the work, when really you're just avoiding doing the work by dressing up and replacing your identity as somebody who was suffering to now somebody who is spiritual. So it's a fine line, and it's quite a tricky one. You need to work with somebody who is aware, or you can pull yourself up on it. You will see it reflected around you if you're looking for it. But it's a fine line between knowing you're doing the inner work and your ego letting you think you're doing the inner work, but really it's chasing something. And I'm speaking about this because this is something that I have experienced. I have quite an addictive personality. I love the excitement of life. I love the adventure, but when the adventure takes a turn, my ego hates it, so it can often get caught in the suffering. and it tries to avoid the suffering by meditating. It's, you know, I'm speaking from a place of I know where you are, and I also know how you can bring yourself back on track, back into alignment with your transformation. So what's the transformation? Life is about the death and rebirth cycle. Yes, you may only die once, you may only live once. It was a saying of mine for a very long time. YOLO, I'll do whatever I want, YOLO. But it's about the death and the rebirth of the self over and over again as you transform, as you shed parts of yourself, as you break free from the conditioned mind. We're in a constant state of evolution, and we have to become okay with that. We have to be able to embrace uncertainty. We have to be able to embrace our evolution, the constant evolution of the self. You just have to look to nature to see constant evolution, change, transformation, the seasons. You just have to look within, learn about your biology. The cells are always changing. In 7 years, you will have an entirely new cellular makeup. Like, your cells are dying and being reborn every moment. We're in a constant state of evolution. So why wouldn't our psyches be the same? And why wouldn't, that in itself is a clue as to why the soul is here. And so what are we transforming into? Hello, little Russell. What are we transforming into? Well, the true self. We're here to understand that we're not the conditioned mind. We're here to understand that we're not the ego, and to know thyself. And in order to do that, we're transforming into the true self, getting closer to our soul, merging with our soul. You're here to go beyond the matrix of your mind. The matrix is not the government, it is not society, it is not whatever you have been told to think it is outside of yourself. The matrix exists in your psyche, in your mind. And yes, within that you have your conscious awareness, you have your subconscious, you also have the collective unconscious. So there are lots of levels of consciousness that make up the matrix, but the matrix isn't out there, the matrix is in here. So becoming the true self, becoming your most authentic version of yourself, means shedding the parts of yourself that believe that are attached to the matrix, that are living in the matrix. So how do we transform rather than get caught in the loop of chasing nice spiritual experiences? Number one, which is, I know it's the most painful thing to do, but it is to be fully with yourself through all of the dirty, dark emotions, all of the pain and all of the suffering, and even the joy. Can you fully be with yourself in the most joyous moment? I used to have a pattern of when I felt joy, I would go and have an alcoholic drink. Rather than being able to be there in that moment of celebration, I had to mark it externally. So can you be there internally with yourself while you're crying, while you're laughing, while you're happy? Can you be fully present with all of who you are? You must be open and curious. Life is an adventure. It is a self-discovery journey. It is a transformation, a cycle of death and rebirth. In order to release the suffering, you have to be open, curious, and trusting that everything is happening for your highest good. Acceptance. You have to accept your situation. You are here on this human journey learning these lessons because you are. And you may never know why. So let's just accept it. Let's accept who we are, who we have been, who our parents are, the situation that we have born into. We can control our actions, we can change our thoughts, we can change our beliefs, we can change our subconscious programming. However, we cannot control the fruits of our labor. So we can visualize, and sometimes that visualization that might happen exactly as you imagined it externally, as you know what I mean. It might happen exactly as you imagined it in your mind. It might happen like that in the external reality, word for word, vision for vision. It also might not, but trust that you are always if you can accept where you are, understand that everything is happening for your highest good, trust that you will always get exactly what you need. And it might not be what the ego needs, but it will always be what the soul needs. And going beyond the mind, using spiritual experiences to get beyond your ego consciousness, but with intention, with presence, not from dissociation and escape. And then when opportunities arise to integrate, to embody this work, which they inevitably will, the universe will say, okay, so you've been intellectually learning this, you've been sitting with this in meditation where it's all, relatively easy, a little, but let's see you put this into action in the outside world. How can you put those boundaries in place? How can you address your goal, go for your dreams? You say you want this, okay, now here you are, here's your opportunity. You may have to go over some hurdles, you may have to go through some twists and turns, figure out a riddle, but you will get there. The universe will always give you opportunities to step into your true self. So this is where the work is. It's taking the meditation off the mat. And as I believe that life is this self-discovery journey. It's a constant evolution and transformation. And an image that holds really strongly in my own psyche, in my own mind, is the phoenix. The phoenix rising from the ashes. The baby phoenix in the ashes, growing, rising, soaring, fanning flames behind him. So I've created a beautiful meditation for you called The Rising of the Phoenix, and you can do that meditation here to help you on this journey. It will help you imagine the kind of death, rebirth process, and what a more poignant time to be doing it. And some journal prompts for you are: how am I transforming today? What cycles of death and rebirth have I already faced in my life? Is there a cycle in my life that is coming to an end in order for me to be reborn again? Am I able to be fully with myself on my transformation journey? I really hope this video has helped you. The art of transformation is one that we get used to when we've had stuff thrown at us, when we've been challenged, when we have been through an awakening process, a dark night of the soul, a midlife crisis, a breakup, a business failure. Like, we're always facing this. It could be internally through depression, it could be externally through a breakup or a business failure. Like, it is... it's always happening. It's always helping you evolve. So, and it's not all bad. There are beautiful experiences that go along with this. Bliss state, inner peace. There is reward, or it's not even reward. It's your natural state, abundance, love, beauty. That's where we're going with this transformation. That is what the true self holds. So can you lean into that a little bit more? And remember, through this work, you become more of your natural self, the natural self who is able to feel so much love in its heart, the natural self that is able to express itself authentically, live your purpose. There is so much magic available to you on this transformation journey. So try to get out of the ego loop of avoiding pain and chasing pleasure, and let's see where you can end up. If this video has helped you, if you've enjoyed it, please hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with all of my latest content. And I hope that you have an incredible transformation journey.